Hi. My devotion today is entitled, Don't Get Scorched. And the scripture lesson is taken from Proverbs 25, verse 28. Like a city breached without walls is one who lacks self-control. I've been reading an article earlier this week that caught my eye. Why rage is the word of the year. Morgan Jerkins gives any number of reasons nationally, while rage was so prominent in 2018. I do not need to give you a bunch of examples. I'm sure you can come up with enough of your own. Just the week before, I was listening to a group of church members gathered after a meeting, talking about how disturbing the past year has been, with all the anger expressed in our politics, our social situations, and just between people. Rage used to be unusual. But what happens when rage becomes normal? What do we humans have to do in a rage culture to express even more exasperation? What I appreciated about Jerkins' article was her concern for what this rage does to the victim. She used the examples such as the way Dr. Christine Blasey Ford was treated, the lack of response to the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. She continues with the tear-gassed humans at the U.S.-Mexican border, to voter suppression in Georgia. I'll stop because I already said I wouldn't give examples. I share these because rage can become an appropriate response. The problem comes when rage becomes a constant. Jerkins said there are many books that affirm women's rage, for example. She said that they often proclaim, quote, rage is good. Rage is the impetus for movements. Movements transform the world, unquote. But she continues, quote, but I often wonder, what happens when the flame does not stop flickering? What happens when it burns and burns until whatever remains is scorched, unquote? What happens is we lose our empathy and even our joy for living. Rage cannot be the go-to response, or it destroys us. Today, turn down the rage. When rage is an acceptable response, reframe it as righteous indignation. Righteous indignation requires us to continue to care for the one or ones that cause us distress. Rage implies that we are out of control, while righteous indignation means having meditated on the situation from a faith perspective and with a faith purpose, faith response. Pray that you and those in power can move from rage to righteous indignation. Pray that everyone can begin to think through their strong emotions and find a productive and healthy way of finding reconciliation with accountability. Accountability is the way to reconciliation. But first reconcile your rage so you are not scorched.